In my 33 years with HMR, you are at the top of the list of being the most passionate, caring, and committed doctors that we certainly worked with, but that I have ever known. And I mean that.
It's very kind. And I feel the same way about you in terms of being able to lead the field in health management and weight management and behavioral management. No one else does it, trains us the way you train everyone. So,
Oh, thank you. Thank you. No, it's been it was a wonderful partnership and collaboration through all the years.
yeah.
So we have identified a few different areas. We can't not talk about the weight loss medications.
So getting into the medications, I mean, that's a great segue because what health management has become, unfortunately, for many people is here, take this pen, take this injection,
Yes.
and the world is yours. And you hear the ads on TV, keep your own lifestyle, keep doing what you're doing, just
Yeah.
take the shot, and health will be yours.
Yeah.
Um, that's a great message if to someone who doesn't understand or wants an easy way out. And I think everyone in some part of our brains wants an easy way out,
Of
or an
course.
easier, a perceived easier way. It may not be easier, but it's perceived as being easier. Let's go back probably 25 years, maybe a little more. There was a Dr. Trudeau. His name was Trudeau. He was selling uh, personal health improvement books. In the old days, when you could have an infomercial, hold up a book and say, "This book brought me X." Well, he did a weight loss book in the 90s. Then didn't change anything I ate. I lost 40 pounds. He held the book up in the air. He sold 85 million copies.
Wow.
That's in the 90s. So people obviously, here, here's the path of least resistance. Here's this pen, and you're going to have nirvana. And the medicines work. I mean, yeah, you take the medicine, your appetite goes down, you stop eating, and you lose some weight. Voila, I can get anyone to lose weight. Like just follow a few simple things. I'll get most people to lose some weight. Um, and every fad diet has shown that, from Atkins to this one to intermittent fasting. You focus on a little bit of time, you do some minor changes, you lose some weight. Okay, so what? What's that get you? Doesn't get you any better health, doesn't get you long-term results. And that's the problem. The medications have become another fad. Yes, they're effective. They're going to be part of our armamentarium. We have to recognize that. They're going to be part of our life in weight control. It's another tool in our toolbox. We have plenty of tools. The tool that we don't have, that we don't use, unfortunately, is the bomb to blow up all the fast food places and all the eateries that we have. Because if we did that, then we could really have a world where we can get help. But until we take away the stimulation from all the external influences, we need to build up more tools in our toolbox to resist them.
It will never happen. My God. I mean, what drives all of these changes in our food culture? People's desires, the demand for it. Haven't we, through the years, just through the millennia, we've just evolved these traits where we want the calories, we want the salt, we want the sugar, and we want it in as quick and easy a way as possible.
That's physiology.
Yes.
Um, why, when we export all of our fast food around the world, do people gravitate to it and get heavy? You put us in an environment. It's human physiology to attract to these foods. That's why the medicines are there. They're interfering with normal physiological mechanisms.
Yeah.
You know,
Let me dwell a little bit more on the point that you made, which is people want the the easy way out, if you will. And I would include myself and you. I think it's human nature to want the most efficient way to accomplish any task. I don't think you have to go past just go to any supermarket or large store parking lot and look at the amount of time people take to find the closest parking spot because it's efficient. It's so built into us. Let me find the shortest distance between me and the front door of the store, even if it means 5 or 10 minutes of driving around.
right?
It's built into
Right.
us.
And then you walk in the store, and the most desirable, highest calorie foods are right in front of you. So you don't have to walk far in the store to get them.
That's right.
You
That's
have to
right.
walk way in the back to get all the good stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So on the GLP-1s, we banged around a few different questions. I think that the a big question is people, a lot of people go on them, but a lot of people come off of them. So do you want to speak a little bit about why do people discontinue these medications just from your experience as a physician?
Well, so it's more than half the people go off them in within 6 months.
Yeah.
So even if they were effective, you're not going to see the results in most people because they're not on them anymore. Um, so the reasons why people go off them are one, it's a process. You have to develop a behavior around taking a medication on a daily basis. Well, we know from all medications, compliance around any medication is not perfect, nor is it even close to perfect.
Right.
So you have just the simple act of taking a medication on a regular basis. Plus, this is weekly, so you have to remember. Oh, well, did I do it this week? Did I not do it this week? So, just the behavior. And then there's the idea that side effects. Some I have patients tell me that, well, I no longer have enjoyment for my food anymore, so I didn't want to do it.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I mean, I've heard all about the side effects, but that one, so there's like a dark side
Yeah.
to the dopamine centers being tamped down around the pleasure of food.
But yeah, sure. And granted, there's some people that have a very beneficial reduction in appetite. They
Hmm.
call it food noise, and I think that's great. Um, but without the support, the teaching people how to take the medication, having them have optimal nutrition, getting them into physical activity, having a regular dialogue, all the coaching principles that get people to change behavior apply here as well. And this is going to happen. This is not like treating blood pressure where here's the tablet, take your tablet every day, and your blood pressure goes away. It doesn't work that way. It's not an antibiotic where all of a sudden the infection goes away. These are very important medications that need to be integrated into a lifestyle pattern, both of using it and having the right diet, the right activity, the right overall plan.
So speak a little bit more. We just talked about how prevalent it is for people to come off of these. I know we've quoted this in our podcast that I do with my podcasting partner. The Milliman White Paper showed that after 2 years, 92% of people are off of them. So what's your view on this? Because I know the intended use is that you go on these and there's not really an end date. Do
Yeah.
we need to nuance that view or just speak to that?
I believe that these are powerful tools that can be used in a variety of ways. So, for instance, the diabetic patient who needs it for their diabetes,
Hmm.
they get double effect. They get a little bit of weight loss, and they get to control their diabetes. And there's been nothing like these drugs for diabetes. Let me tell you, the diabetic control is phenomenal with these drugs, with or without the weight loss.
Mm.
So that's one aspect. But perhaps these drugs are like other tools we have. Maybe you use them for a seasonal effect. Hey, you know what? I really have a rough patch coming up at the holidays. I'll be around lots of food. Yeah, let me dampen down the food noise for this 3 months or so. Let me get through it. Let me use some other strategies with it. I'm going to be using some calorie balancing strategy. I might use some meal replacements. I might increase my physical activity. I'm being coached. I'm getting some support. Let me get through this season with these this medication. You know what? Maybe I'm starting a program. I need something to help me get through a better start. I need something to just get me through the first few months, and then I can take it from there. Um, these are possibilities. Maybe I need it for maybe 3 or 4 months. Maybe I need it for a year. But now I'm going to be learning strategies and behaviors that I can use and put in place that I can use it to maintain my weight loss.
I'm not sure you're aware of how your clarity and commitment to lifestyle health is woven into everything you just said there and it's not usual that people talk about the meds like that. You just talked about going on the meds and then you listed a litany of positive lifestyle changes in combination when on the meds and then you mentioned going off the meds and practicing these lifestyles. Isn't it kind of the opposite what's happening out there, which is the meds are the answer and it doesn't necessarily incline or motivate people to want to dig deep into their lifestyle behaviors.
Yeah. Think training wheels for bicycle riding.
Mm.
Some training wheels.
Let's talk about the importance of lifestyle changes when people begin using the weight loss meds. How important is it? What's been your
Critical,
experience with that?
critical. Just take the nutritional aspects. I mean, so what are you going to eat? People talk about protein. I mean, I hate to turn people into biochemists, but we're really not biochemists. We really need to talk about food and the right kinds of foods, calorie density, quality of the foods. So from foods and and then physical activity. We have this great expression: weight loss without physical activity is temporary.
That's right.
Um, so I don't care how much medication you get, without the physical activity, it's not going to stay. So it's critical. It's absolutely critical. And one of the problems is physicians, in the time we have with patients, there's not enough time, nor do we have the opportunity to leverage the behavior change that has to happen. And that's why having, coaches like yourself and my staff, this is where they can spend the amount of time with the right skills to get people to change behavior. I make the analogy all the time with athletes. So why do all the highest paid top athletes have coaches?
Mm, right.
They know that the coach gets the best performance out of them. They're the best in the world at their sports, but they still have coaches.
The
Why?
greatest, the absolute people at the peak mastery in any sport, they all have a coach. Yep.
And I always like to reference Michael Jordan, who I think was one of the best basketball
Of
players
course.
ever. When his coach retired, he said, "I'm retiring." When Phil
I
Jackson
didn't know
retired,
that.
he said, Phil Jackson was the reason why I'm here, and I'm retiring. No, he came back to. They both came back to work eventually. But I mean, think about it. Think about the winningest sports teams. Their coaches have, and when the coach goes to a different team, he wins there too, he or she.
Yeah.
So to take away the coaching part of it is to negate, and actually set yourself up for failure without the coaching.
Yeah. You mentioned the physicians not having adequate time. I remember an old stat. I don't know. It's probably worse now. The average physician has 7 minutes with
Yeah.
their patient. I don't know if that's changed, but you can't do much in that. But something that you sent me a presentation. I haven't gotten through all of it, but I got through most of it. And I want to talk just for a minute about even if a physician has the time, they may not necessarily have the training to adequately support the lifestyle change. Can I give you a mind-blowing example of this?
Not sure.
I hope your head doesn't explode when I share this with you. So, I have a program member who I work with who has not had a positive experience with the weight loss meds. Not a big impact. He went to a new physician. Okay, so you ready for this? Two completely contradictory recommendations from the physician. The new physician told me I'm not losing weight because I'm not eating enough calories. Number one. Therefore, we're going to put you on Zepbound and we're going to increase your dosage to a much higher dosage than you were on with any of the other medications you've used. So, not enough calories. Let's eat more calories, but let's put you on the weight loss med. The very mechanism by which it works is to tamp down hunger so that you're eating fewer calories. Can you comment about that right there?
I don't want to criticize my colleagues too much, but
No, it's a training issue.
yeah, it's a training issue. There's so much misinformation. I've heard people say that these medications do other things to your metabolism in such a way that facilitate or your weight loss, and they may have minor effects
Minor,
on
right?
metabolic processes, but the biggest part is reducing food intake.
Yes.
Uh, and um, and then the another one to your point is the insulin resistance. I mean, how many times have you heard ads on TV or doctors talk about, oh, it's your insulin resistance is why you can't lose weight? Well, it's just the other way around. You lose weight, you get rid of your insulin resistance. And I've spent my whole career getting people with insulin resistance to lose weight. It's just around calorie balance. So
Yeah. Chicken or the egg. You
there's so
miss.
much, yeah, exactly, chicken and egg, and there's the misinformation is. That's one of my favorite lines is, "Oh, you're not eating enough, and so you have to eat more to lose weight." I mean, it is my retort to that is, in what famine in the world's history did you know that anyone didn't lose weight?
QED. That basically puts the end of that conversation. There's no rebuttal to that.
And from a medical standpoint, I mean, this might be going a little far, but the seminal study was in New England Journal. It's 35 years old. It was done in New York City, where they took people and they actually measured what they ate and how much they did, and then they compared it to what they reported, and the discrepancies were huge. And the patients had no idea how different they were from what they perceived they did and what they actually did.
Right, right. I'll just one more, and again, we're not here to criticize, but you did send me a video of a presentation on the GLP-1s. This was presented by a board-certified physician in internal medicine, a New York Times best-selling author. And your quote, and maybe your quote just stands on its own. You wrote, "Although some of the messaging is accurate, most of it is nonsense." Anything else, like what struck you as you watched that, 45-minute talk that compelled you to say that most of this is nonsense?
Well, he talked a lot about insulin resistance,
Hmm.
and he had some gimmicky product that he was selling to facilitate the insulin resistance. Again, it was very gimmicky and not physiological. Even his nutritional advice about protein intake wasn't accurate. So yeah, you don't need all that stuff.
Well, you've just dropped an interesting word, which works as a perfect segue to another material that you sent me, the fabulous Nutrition Action Health Letter, which I need to resubscribe to. Anyone listening, if you're interested in some great takes on health, the Nutrition Action Health Letter is really near the top of the list. So I'm not sure how to find. I'm going to just share two of the examples that you shared with me. Gimmicks. I don't know if you file this under misinformation, lack of education, or health halos run amok. It could be any of the following. So I'm just going to address this. So this was an article on how the food industry is quote unquote cashing in on the obesity meds, and the two products that they sort of highlighted here. First was the Vital Pursuit brand of foods, designed, I'm quoting now, designed to provide dietary support to GLP-1 users and consumers focused on weight management. So let me just repeat back to you what you shared with me, and I just asked for your reaction. So these foods are described as made with quality proteins, vegetables, and whole grains. Sounds good, right?
Right.
Okay, so let me just give you an example. They have pizzas and they have bowls. Look at you, you're already laughing when I say pizza. So on the bowls, that quote, meals to crush your goals. So already emotionally, I'm on board with this. That vegetables, whole grains, I'm going to crush my goals. I mean, let me just place my order now. Well, their 400 calorie pizza provides 40% of the saturated fat and sodium that you're allowed for an entire day. Just their one pizza. So there's one. But and then their Vital Pursuit bowls, well, I have sandwiches too. They tout vegetables. Some of their bowls reach up to a whopping half cup of vegetables,
Yeah.
but also provide in the bowls 35% of the day's saturated fat and 30% of the day's sodium. And that's a lot for only 430 calories.
Yeah.
So, what's your take on some of the way that the food industry might be trying to capitalize on the weight loss meds?
This dovetails into one of the tools about which we've relied on for getting weight loss for all these years, and that's the idea of what we call meal replacements,
Yes.
prepackaged foods.
Yes.
That's been our magic tool for 35, 40 years. And there's a reason why they're a magic tool. They're convenient, they can be nutritious, they can be filling, they check all the boxes for kinds of foods that you want to eat, period, whether you're trying to lose weight or not. They just make convenient. And convenience is a big issue in our society, and we know that. We're not, but not a day goes by that someone comes to me already on GLP. I use the word, by the way, I use the word incretins for these drugs because the technical term is more descriptive of the drugs. So they increase the amount of insulin your body makes when you eat.
Say
Um,
that word again, Ned.
incretin, Incretin. But like for instance, Monjero, Zepbound, they're have a GIP and GLP effect.
Hmm.
So GIP is also a hormone that produces insulin when you eat. So there's a family of these hormones, and they're called incretins. So I like to be medically correct when I talk about them. So not a day goes by when someone on these medications comes to me and comes out, brings a bag, and pulls out a box of food, or a bar or a shake, and says, "Oh, isn't this great? Look at the protein in it. Look at the blah blah blah." First of all, I turn around and look at the calories for number one.
Thank you very much. First thing, yes.
And then I said, well, let's look at what this is. Where's the protein from? What else is in this? Where's your nourishment? What vitamins are you getting? What are you getting here? You know, the headline is 20 grams of protein or something like that, and you gravitate to it because it's easy, and you know that when you're on these medications, often your volume of food needs to be reduced because you can't eat the same amount. So you need to put all your nutrition in a more compact form and still get some pleasure. So food industry has said, oh, that makes sense. And let me package these things together. Well, they have all these nice headlines, but there's no substance behind them. And as you know, and I know, there are options for people to get healthful meal replacement type products where all their needs are being met, their protein, their vitamin, mineral needs, and their volume issues adjusted just right. So again, the idea is correct. I think the translation to the actual products becomes a real problem.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Your decades of years practice in helping people to lose weight, your patients, and you are referring to meal replacements, to use your phrase there, miracle foods. I mean, that's pretty much how I talk about them as well. Let's just bring a human element into it here, Ned. What's your favorite? I'm going to go with shakes. Okay, give me your favorite shake or smoothie recipe.
Well, I'm an HMR 70 fan, so HMR has been making meal replacement shakes since I started in this world, and I've tried a bunch of them. I take frozen strawberries, banana, and I mix two chocolate and two vanilla, and
Wow,
I'm a sweet nut. I have to have sweet.
I'm with you
Uh,
on that.
for instance, when I don't drink much wine, but if I drink wine, it's got to be sweetened wine. If I drink coffee, it's got to be sweetened. I add Crystal Light lemonade packets to my shake. I get that sweet lemony tart flavor,
Yep.
and I put it in a blender. I make 2 quarts at a time.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a very high volume shake you're describing.
But if I do that in the morning, I'm done.
Yeah. Oh,
Now,
a lot of
I,
protein there too.
and I've gotten 100% of my RDA for everything with four packets gives you at least about 100% of your RDA. And I got protein and I got volume and I got my fruits in there and I'm set.
Yeah.
And I'm getting what 500 calories maybe, so
I was just gonna say, and like the calories, you can't beat the calories of the meal replacements. You get full for very few calories, and it just gives you hours in the day that otherwise you'd be eating more
yeah,
calories. To me, of all of the dietary tools, do not take my shakes away from me. I would feel anxiety
yeah, absolutely.
rising if they took my shakes away.
I,
Um,
I've coined the term eraser. The shakes are the eraser. What do I mean by eraser? Well, we like to eat. I mean, we said that earlier. I mean, what is it about food? Life without pizza is not worth living. But don't give me one slice. So now I've had my pizza. Maybe I've ramped up my PA physical activity enough, but I still have a calorie burden to manage. Shakes give me that option without having to starve,
yes.
without having to miss any nutrients, and then getting some pleasure. So they're the eraser. They erase the calorie issues that you have. The balance. Another one of my favorite terms is everyone says moderation. Everything in moderation. Well, it's not moderation. It's balance. You got to balance. what's a moderate amount of pizza? What's a moderate amount of anything?
Right.
I don't know what a moderate amount is, but I can balance.
Yes. But don't ask me to moderate my shake use.
No, 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 no.
There's so low calorie, so much volume, so much flavor, so much nutrition, the whole thing. Yeah. Well, I'll end the shake talk with one more example from the nutrition action piece you sent me. Okay, so this is back under foods designed for people on the GLP-1 weight loss medications. You ready? From Smoothie King. So we're
Okay.
continuing with the shakes. Smoothies to support your GLP-1 routine. Sounds promising, doesn't it?
Right.
Well, their Keto Champ GLP-1 berry shake sounds good, doesn't it?
Right.
Keto? I mean, there's something that health halo supportive there. GLP-1's in the title, Ned.
Right.
Has 38 grams of saturated fat, 2 days worth, and 890 calories. Do comment. 890 calories
That's
in your
obvious.
GLP-1 support shake that has 2 days worth of saturated fat.
Right. And that's just breakfast.
It's just breakfast, right? Yeah. How to have the GLP-1s not work for weight loss. Yeah, this was a great piece. Appreciated you sending that. Oh, I have one other question about the GLP-1. So, we've talked about they can be very effective. We talked about people do come off of them for various reasons. The food industry is sort of taking advantage of the positivity train that these are on. What would you say about the question that has been asked of me by several of our members? These have been around for a long time. Why haven't we heard more about them for weight loss through all the years? Because they've been used to treat diabetes, right, for a couple of decades now.
They come out in 2005, actually. So we're looking at 20 years of use. And I can recall when the first one came on the market, that was going to be, the stock went through the roof for the company before it even was released. The news of these drugs drove up enthusiasm, but the early ones had the side effect profiles were far worse than the nausea, the vomiting, the abdominal pain was far worse. And the injections were twice a day in the beginning, and then once a day. The cost was huge, and the weight losses were modest. And the FDA didn't have the companies didn't seek indications for weight loss. So as the drugs got better, less side effects, weekly injections. There's even a pill for one of them now. And then the FDA granted the companies applied for and got weight indications for it. So once you have an indication by the FDA, then you can let the gauntlet down and you can advertise it. And there's never been a medication for which people take that causes nausea and vomiting that people continue to take because they think they're going to get weight loss. So if I gave someone a blood pressure pill or diabetes tablet, it caused nausea and vomiting, I'm getting a phone call the next day. Hey, I can't take this anymore. Take a common one, metformin, common diabetes medication,
Hmm.
causes diarrhea in many people. I get diarrhea. I'm off the drug. Don't give it to me again. Give someone an incretin, nausea, vomiting, constipation, diarrhea. They're taking it forever. And did you call me for the diarrhea or the vomiting? No, I like the weight loss, so I'm taking the medicine anyway. That happens. It's mind-boggling.
It speaks to how powerful weight loss is as a
Yes,
motivator for
right.
people to tolerate a lot.
The power of the food in front of us is enormous. We talk about environmental control.
Mm.
If it's there, you'll eat it. If it's not there, you can't eat it. And the medications do, in many people, help with that attraction. But there's more to it, as we said.
What a powerful influence food is. Oh my God.
Yes.
I mean, the best laid goals, the most urgent goals, no matter how dire, whatever circumstances someone's facing health-wise or whatnot, when you're hungry and that food is there, we have this brilliant little mechanism called the avoidance response. Well, my health is still important to me, but I'll really tackle the plan
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Right.
Please pass the pizza. It's
Yeah.
it's it's extraordinary. absolutely
But
extraordinary.
one of my favorite things to do is I photograph the nursing units at the hospitals, which I round and for the food that's out. I have a nice collection of, pictures. These are food items that donuts and in our world, it's hot pretzels that these not even a whole shift of work will the average nurse burn those calories.
Yeah, the irony, right, of it being in the hospital, but welcome to America. I mean, this is what America serves up. Uh, Maybe the most widely viewed video I ever did at in the HMR days was the hospital muffin. I don't know if you ever saw that, but here we were in a hospital, and everyone was talking about how wonderful the muffins were. So I bought one, big, put it on the scale at the hospital. It was 1,100 calories. That's quite a lot of calories for a muffin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't have I indelicately shared with a little bit of a tinge of outrage to the nurses on the floor we were at how many calories are in their muffin. I'm not sure they were all very happy to hear that
No,
because they
no,
loved the
no.
muffins.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
All right,
Absolutely.
I think we've sort of touched on a lot of the high points on the GLP-1s. These are going to evolve, they're going to improve, but I think if there's one message that people need to get, please echo your thoughts on this, is whether you take them forever or you use them strategically, you've got to combine it with positive lifestyle changes. What else might you say about that?
Well, I think that's accurate, and I think by extension, the inculcation of these lifestyle changes becomes increasingly difficult in an environment that doesn't support you.
That's right.
And we as professionals have an obligation to guide our patients into that reality and that realm because they have no experience of it. Often have no experience of it, or if they did, it's dusty. It's dusted off, and we need to help them take those steps and guide them. The word doctor in Latin means teach, and like in a museum, the docent is the one who guides you through the museum. We have to guide them into this way of living, and it's not a straight line. It's going to fill with ups and downs, but real, relevant, credible coaching to get them to be active, to get them to be eating what they should eat, how to deal with failure, how to get back on track when things don't work out, how to use all the tools in the toolbox. It's a process. Everything in life we've learned has been by a process. Very few people are self-taught everything. We went to school. I didn't, they don't hand you a bunch of books in medical school and say, okay, here to come back in 4 years and take the test. You go to law school, they don't hand you a bunch of books. They come back in 3 years and take the bar. You go to class, you get all this education. And in medicine, it's like a apprenticeship. You do residency. You're watching other people. That's true for the trades. That's why they have apprenticeships. But weight control is a skill, like all these other skills, and we have to focus on that.
Yep, absolutely. Could you just speak a little bit about your personal commitment to your health, why it's important to you, and your views on that? And then I do want to touch on why, as a physician, you feel it's important for people to practice what they preach.
Looking at my personal life, I don't think anyone ever comes up to us or me, even as a physician, and said, you have to live this way to be healthy. There's no sign in the world or in medical school. Yeah, we see go to lectures and you hear about all the physiology and all the medicine, but there's never ever a sign that says, okay, listen, this is how you be healthy. I mean, it's sort of like understood but not really stated. And as in college, went to the doctor for something. He took my blood pressure. He said, your blood pressure's high. Wait a minute. And then a light bulb went off. I said, I better get going here. And I started running. I started knowing how to eat. I just gravitated to eating fruits and vegetables because that's what makes sense. And so I made that commitment early on in my career to be active and to eat in a way that was conducive to maintaining a good, healthy lifestyle. I always struggle with my weight a little bit as well. Learning these skills has helped me maintain my health and my weight. And every decade of my life, I've recommitted myself to being more active at a higher level. So in my 40s, I stepped up my running and did marathons. And in my 50s, I started doing triathlons. My 60s, I've continued that. And I still every day get up and want to commit myself to being more active and achieving these different goals and different activities and biking and swimming and running and even in the gym with the weights and things. So it's always an ongoing thing. It's right in the front of my mind. And being in the field, it's also motivating to me to see my patients doing so well. That also feeds back on me, that makes it more important. And then there's the issue of family. When I'm out running, I'm thinking of my kids and my grandchildren. I want to be there for them. I really want to see them, and I want them to follow my footsteps, literally and figuratively. I just can't imagine not being able to be with them and really hang out with them, not just sit on a couch. I want to be able to get out and play ball with them and be active and move around, and that's so critical to me to be there for them as I age.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. You know, as a physician, we do hold physicians in such high esteem as we should in society. But to hear a physician such as yourself talk about with passion the importance of positive lifestyle changes and healthy habits, it comes at me in an even more powerful way. So I really appreciate and always have appreciated your commitment to your own personal health and as a health professional practicing healthy habits as a positive role model for the people that you treat.
Thank you. And I have to add two things. One is there's ample data that says that healthier physicians have healthier patients. So is that self-selection? You could argue, someone who is advocating healthier behaviors, and maybe patients will stay away from those kinds of physicians. I don't know. I tend to believe in the opposite, that, we will do more to help our patients' health because we do it ourselves and we know what to do. So I think that's a very important part of what, as a physician, we do is role modeling for our patients to be healthier. Also, when in my career, if I'm in public with my colleagues, they're looking at me as what I'm seeing what I'm eating. It's really funny. And if they perceive themselves as not eating something that is of value, they're gonna make an excuse to me. It's funny behavior to watch. But I also want to say that none of us are perfect. I have like I said, pizza. I love pizza. I love ice cream. None. We all love these foods. You can't deny the pleasure of the foods that are out there. That would be absurd to say they're not pleasurable foods, and that from time to time, and maybe sometimes too much, they come into my life. But I've learned the tools and the strategies to modulate that or balance that and get back on track. So no one loses weight and just keeps it off and sails into the sunset. There's always this bouncing on, and managing that in this world is really what we have to do.
Wonderful. Can I add to your pizza and ice cream chips, please?
Oh,
I can't stop once I start. So, in another conversation, we'll get into much more detail about the potency of positive lifestyle changes. But just to extend something that you just said, we practice these healthy lifestyles so that we can enjoy these tempting, delicious foods, but enjoy them on our own terms.
yes,
Isn't that
absolutely.
kind of what it boils down to?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And having a knowledge of caloric density really helps that. Without that knowledge, one of my favorite expressions that my colleagues use when dealing with weight, and patients too, for that matter, the first things out of the mouth is it's about the carbs. I got to cut my carbs. First of all, we're not biochemists. So I ask a patient what's a carb, and they get all kinds of answers. Chocolate, that's not. Uh, um, but it's about calories, and so knowing calories. If trying to balance my calories, I'm not wasting 100 calories a tablespoon on some oil or peanut butter, or 125 calories an ounce on some prime rib. It's not worth it. I'll get my 25 calorie an ounce shrimp and enjoy it just as much, if not more. But if I want to have my 125 calorie an ounce prime rib, which is not very often, I know now I spent this much money. You know, I want my big screen TV. I bought it for $3,000. Well, now I got to buy, make up that money somewhere.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
um, and then having that calorie knowledge, I think, is essential.
Surely. It makes me think of we have a program member who's very successful, contributes a lot to our program. She uses olive oil very, very judiciously. She's turned me on to this wonderful olive oil sprayer, so you can just put very little on but get the flavor. And her favorite example is to show a tablespoon of oil and a full, huge HMR 120 shake.
Yeah,
Choose.
yeah, right,
There you go.
right,
Yeah.
right.
All right. Well, I think we should wrap this up. I'm hoping this will be the first of many conversations that we can share with folks.
Look forward to that. Yes.
Yeah. And thank you for your time and really appreciate us being able to get back together again, given all of our years together, but a little bit of a hiatus. And here
Right.
we are. We ride again.
I think we have a mission to bring health management and incredible weight management to the world. I think we have to create a bigger listening for the pathway that is going to give the most results, and it's incumbent upon us with that message to push against the alternative messages that are out there.
Well, I'm on board with that. So look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you.
All right.
Be
Take
well.
care.
Take care.